So midlife crisis John Doyle has his new home in Texas. And he has a new video entitled, Why the Left Fears White Boy Summer. I haven't seen this yet, so let's check it out. He's inheriting Fuentes' followers. I mean, they're friends, or at least business associates, so it's not surprising. They believe basically the same shit. John's just better at hiding it. Moppy Mutton says, heck off, commie. Nah, fuck off, fasci.
I am going to do what I do best. I am going to warrantedly and correctly overanalyze a meme through the lens of my politics, but this time it's...
I really don't like midlife crisis John. I miss Suit John. Midlife crisis John just depresses me, because he's in his 20s and he's already dressing like a 40-year-old divorced dad who posts online about how much alimony is killing men and that child support is misandry. Like, I'm just saying, John Doyle's whole thing has been getting sadder and sadder for a while. And when he inevitably dons some sort of, like, leather Hugo Boss outfit with a armband with a T on it, I'm not going to be able to take him seriously as a real fascist. All I'm going to see is this douchebag. And that's not fun, right? I'm not going to feel good about being in hiding from fascists who used to wear shirts like this. Urban Heat says, I don't fear it. I mock it and destroy it. Very edgy. Sky Comet Fallen says, WTF is white boy summer. Summer's almost over. What is he talking about? It's like a meme that started. It was big in the Groyper community. Groypers being fans of Nick Fuentes. Basically, white nationalist alt-righters. Muddy says, correctly, calm down, piss boy. It's a meme. It also just became a general meme of, like, it's white boy summer. People making fun of it.
It's more than a meme. It is a lifestyle. It is a metaphysical reality, and that is that this summer is white boy summer, okay? This is white boy summer. Why is this? What does it mean? Why are people melting down about it? So many questions, and we will answer all of them. But you might remember that there was a song that came out a couple years ago called Hot Girl Summer. And the whole point of the song was exactly that. It's Hot Girl Summer. It's a summer for girls to live their best lives, be independent, be bad, enjoy yourself, be a hoe. It's hoe season. So basically, it was an anthem for young girls to do what they've already been doing for a while now, which is living as sentient fleshlights until they have a prescription for antidepressants and no less than 2 cats, all in the name of empowerment or whatever.
Gee, I wonder why John Doyle's single. He's such a catch. Look at that shirt. It's so turquoise.
But nonetheless, that was fine, right? Like, that was...
H-Baird says he's like an early blooming Terrence Popp, except he doesn't have the kinds of real baggage that Terrence does. Terrence is like reading a Superman comic, and John Doyle is like reading a Superboy comic. You know? You know where it's going. Or Terrence Popp is like watching The Empire Strikes Back, and John Doyle is like watching Revenge of the Sith. D-Zug says, why is John Doyle cow playing as a cringe white blues guitar player?
Celebrated.
Cosplaying, that makes sense.
And of course, the
I don't know.
narrative to which it alluded was, as it always is, that women are oppressed and shamed by a patriarchal society, and so they have to feel empowered.
He says, as if that isn't the case, right after he just insulted women and called them human fleshlights for engaging in the behavior that the song was saying gets shamed, but he thinks it doesn't get shamed, but he just shamed it by calling women human fleshlights. That's galaxy brain. Ice Queen says, it seriously drives me crazy because one of my nephews has this same energy. Thankfully, he's gay and liberal and not a fascist. Well, that's fine. He's just a normal Zoomer. Super Greggy Pants says, does John Doyle wear sunglasses now to hide the fact that the light has left his eyes? That's why I do it. Hold on. Catwoman sunglasses? Read that one. Lily Love Stuff says, I feel like if John Doyle wanted, or rather watched a Meg 3 Stallion music video, it may kill him. I don't even know what that is.
Through the inevitable
Why do I feel like this same company probably sells these same sunglasses in a different color, but probably as Spider-Man sunglasses? Because these read more Spider-Man to me than they do Catwoman. I don't know.
Thought to therapy pipeline that we just mentioned, and that was cool. But when you have been taught that you are racist and evil, that your country is racist and evil, when you've been deprioritized...
Yes, clearly that's what's going on, John. Good summation of the last 10 years.
In the workplace, in college admissions, all of your favorite things get turned gay or into women.
Yes, as we all know, there are no male or straight characters anymore. They're all gay or women or gay women. Lily Lovestuff says, Meg Three Stallion is a rapper. She coined the term Hot Girl Summer and has a song called that. He was literally just talking about it.
Any opportunity to mock you is taken and ran with, but when you try to participate and poke fun too, then you're demonized. All of this happens to you over the course of a few decades, and in particular the last few years.
And he knows. John Doyle's 21 years old, so he only knows the last 2 decades, literally.
And you just want to have one teeny tiny little white boy summer, and then immediately, nope, shut it down. That's extremism. That's white supremacy. I don't...
It got called white supremacy very specifically because it got picked up by Nick Fuentes' fan base and became a meme for them, and they're white supremacists. And so are you and your fans, but you know that. So, what are we doing here?
Don't care. It's white boy summer. We're skateboarding. We're causing mischief. We're listening to Blink 182. We're gaming. We're getting yelled at by authority figures. We're punching drywall. We're gaslighting women.
Bitter Old Ass Broad says, hey Hannah and Chad, I got my booster today. So far, very minimal side effects. Awesome.
Jumping into lakes, and they hate it because we're having fun, and they are miserable people. It's one last score, boys. One last score before we go to the FEMA camps. One last hurrah, the final.
FEMA camps? More like forced femalization camps. It's a stretch. Anyway, inject John Doyle with female hormones.
Meme. And it's both completely unserious and completely serious at the same time, because it's like, yeah, society is coordinating to effectively demonize white men, which we've known for a while, but you know what? Not this summer. This is our summer. And even that they don't like. No, you can't just declare it to be white boy summer. I just did. And now I'm putting...
You did, John. I hope you enjoyed white boy summer. It's almost September, but I hope you enjoyed white boy summer in your new home. I really do. You've been making so few videos. I would imagine you must have enjoyed it. Hydrate.
On my Sperry's, my pattern cotton button-down shirt, my Club Masters, and I'm gonna go climb something that I'm not supposed to be climbing because it's white boy summer. So we will examine the truth about white boy summer, why everything that is right-wing and or white gets traced back to Nazis, why the left is able to lie so effectively, why they...
Everything that's white. That's true. People accuse me of being a Nazi all the time, just because I'm white. That's a real thing that definitely happens, and doesn't only happen to people who espouse white nationalist rhetoric. Bitter Old Ass Broad says, also, this kid is such a weenie. True?
Fear camaraderie and guys just being dudes, group identity, cringing at cargo shorts as a product of anti-white conditioning. I'm only...
Cargo shorts are white culture! Fact! Ice Queen says, this is one of those times I'm very glad I'm a gay woman. I bet.
Half joking about that. Then, of course, the official style and music guide along with the official checklist. And, of course, going outside and having fun as a political strategy, which will get us into the White Boy Summer Super Spreader Weekend Retreat and Jamboree, which you could actually attend if you'd like. It's going to be epic, so...
Oh, that'll be fun. Do you think... Guys, okay, here's a poll. Sorry, I'm trying to make a poll. Will John Doyle catch the coof? Answer this poll. Will John Doyle catch COVID? E-Tune says, I'm declaring 2022 apocalyptic cephalopod summer because Splatoon 3 is supposed to be out around then. Well, there you go. Ice Queen says, honestly surprised he hasn't yet.
Do stay tuned.
I believe, joking aside, I genuinely believe John Doyle probably has been vaccinated. He's a fascist, but he's not an idiot. I don't think he's an anti-vaxxer. It wouldn't surprise me if he pushes forward anti-vax rhetoric and anti-mandate rhetoric because it resonates with the right, that's his audience. But I 100% believe he probably has been vaccinated. Muddy says, as a German, I hate people who actually believe stuff like this. I know Nazi means something different nowadays, but still, no one believes white equals Nazi. Yep. The only people who actually espouse that rhetoric are the right, who claim that the left says that, but no. Basically, the people that we call Nazis are white nationalists, or people who dog whistle white nationalist talking points, which is a lot of the right at this point, unfortunately. Colston says, God, John has become that kid that does weird shit and takes your weirded out expression as proof of you being triggered. That's literally what he does. Yeah. Is he going to make, like, a new intro at some point? He doesn't even live here anymore. He's a masturbating vaxxed grifter. Oh, I think he probably masturbates.
John Doyle in. Heck off, commie.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. You might be asking yourself why I waited until August to start talking about White Boy Summer. It's actually a very simple answer. I have spent the better part of the last 2 years studying contemporary global propaganda, and I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we can pull this off. Like, we can just say, well, with the lockdowns and everything, we really weren't able to fully experience White Boy Summer, so we're going to have to extend it further into the calendar, only temporarily. But we're just going to have absolute power over the calendar if we do this correctly. We can just... It is with great reluctance that I accept this calling. I love seasons. I love Christian Girl Autumn. Believe me, I do. I love Pride Month. And once White Boy Summer has concluded, I will lay down these emergency
He loves seasons, which is why he moved to Texas.
powers and restore the calendar as it exists, but it's never that simple, is it? No, the everlasting White Boy Summer. We just have to get our feet in the door. We have to get our vans in the door, and then the whole calendar is ours. I'm joking. That is a
I really wish the Groypers hadn't ruined White Boy Summer as a meme, because it is actually a pretty funny meme.
joke. And that's the thing. This whole thing really is said tongue-in-cheek. And it really just comes down to that the people who hate us don't like it when we're having fun because they are legitimately miserable and insecure people. Like, you can look at the rates of mental illness comparatively. You can literally just look at or talk to any of these people and
the
see
discrepancies in reported mental illness between the left and the right can entirely be chalked up to the fact that the left actually seeks help for their depression and anxiety, and the right instead turns it into being angry at everyone else and becomes fascist weirdos like John. John seems like a person who's very happy with his life and not compensating for anything at all. Krizia says, that wasn't a dick joke, by the way. I meant he's probably sincerely really, really, really depressed inside. And he tries to find purpose with people like Donald Trump. Krizia says, August was typically the summer vacation month before central AC was widespread. Yeah. Ice Queen says, Christian Girl Autumn, nah bro, fall is for pagans. Lily Lovestuff says, Fat Girl Fall may be back when we have to wait for a word from our leader Lizzo since she's dropping music since she's dropping music again, so we'll see if Fat Girl Fall is still on. I hope so. Morak Ben Eon says, my dad is super conservative, absolutely hates psychologists and thinks it's all BS. So is my dad. My dad is a legit raging narcissist who's an abusive alcoholic, and he thinks mental illness is a fake thing. The right just doesn't seek help for their mental issues. It's not that they don't have them, John.
Day. And so something like White Boy Summer is really just demoralizing to them because they exist literally to try to ruin our lives, whether it's by putting all of...
That's true. The fact that John feels that way means I'm doing my job correctly, so... That's pretty cool.
Your effort into making sure that you can't shop somewhere without getting a shot, or even like without getting shot actually, or whether it's some journalist or streamer who lives to tattle on us for having fun. Like, these people live as derivatives. They live a derivative existence. You don't do anything. You don't contribute to anything organic to the society or to any discussion that you're ever in, ever.
John, you and I are online political pundits. Let's not try and throw stones at glass houses. Neither of us add anything of substance to society, and that's a fact.
You exist to serve the power structures in this society, and without people like us actually challenging those power structures, you would have even less purpose. And so, guess what? It's white boy summer, and the boys are renting a lake house for Labor Day weekend, and I am bringing out the most radical, the most intolerant, the most illiberal guys I know. We're gonna be laughing, we're gonna be jumping into water from dangerous points, we're gonna be eating obscure meats, like we're gonna get some ostrich burgers going or something. We're gonna be wrestling, we're gonna be boxing, and
Is man meat an obscure meat now?
inevitably someone's gonna get slammed or hit too hard and an actual fight is going to break out, but that's okay. Arguably, that was the whole purpose from the beginning, and most
That sounds like healthy relationships with your bros. I know for a fact that we're gonna get in a fight. Oh, that's reasonable. You all sound very emotionally mature and definitely don't have any mental illness. Chrysia says, conservatism is literally the antithesis of challenging power structures. Ice Queen says, we're going to be having a lot of gay sex. Wagrode says, nonsense, Hannah. You keep plenty of us misfits and weirdos sane. Kinda doubt that. Overthought says, challenging power structures isn't his whole thing to conserve power structures? Okay, he wants to regress to previous power structures that kept, like, white straight men in power and disenfranchised everyone else. He's not a conservative. He's a fascist. And a regressive.
importantly, we're going to be having more fun than the people who hate us, which means that we win. So there's that. Also, if you've been looking for new merch, it is imminent. It will be released very soon. Very excited about that. And if you're interested in attending the
Science is gay. I actually kind of want that shirt, unironically, the Science is gay shirt. Not for the reason he intends, but yeah, I kind of like that shirt. Colston says, Christ, this is so sad. He actually thinks people care this much about him. Yeah, he has 300,000 subscribers. This is 40,000 views. I mean, his audience certainly cares about him. Sky Comet Fallen says he's totally not gay, spending all the summer with a bunch of guys at a lake house, but definitely not gay. Felix Night Owl says, this party at the lake is sounding really gay. I kind of want to go.
White Boy Summer Super Spreader Weekend Retreat and Jamboree. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to bring out a few members on the website sort of as like a thank you for supporting the channel. So if you're a member on the website, log into your account, go to Comrades Only, fill out the form, and then we'll get back to you. And you can also find the link to the private Discord server there, which is so much fun in itself.
This is their second Discord server. The first one got banned for, I don't even know if I want to spread this rumor, because I didn't see any actual evidence, so I won't. The rumor was for pretty bad roleplay shit that was happening.
But yeah, it's going to be a blast. And if you're a woman or a man who doesn't deserve his balls, you're not invited, okay? You need not apply. Preference is being given to anyone over the age of like 42, so we can have that dad on the grill energy, you know, rocking the cargo shorts, the sandals, calling anyone who gets more than 2 burgers or 3 hot dogs big guy. I feel like that's a fair ratio. I'm not the expert, but that's the idea. Or if I've met you at an event, I want to see Red Polo Chad. I want to see Sawyer there. Charlie, you can come. Sydney Watson won't be there, but you can still come. She's not invited. She's a woman. So we're very excited about that. So if you're interested, go fill out the form as soon as possible. But anyways, we begin our analysis of White Boy Summer. Now, as we said,
Just a bunch of dudes hanging out at a no girls allowed summer retreat, punching each other because they're not gay.
it really wasn't supposed to be a political thing. It literally started with Tom Hanks' son just spontaneously announcing it, and then like all great things, it was memed into existence. But I think it's important to realize that if you're a white guy in this country, if you're a white boy, you are essentially inseparable from politics. Like you are almost an inherently political figure.
I don't know if you know this, John, but for all of history, everyone has typically been inseparable from politics. Everyone is always inseparable from politics because it touches every part of our day-to-day life. You and other white, straight, cis dudes just felt insulated from it because the entire system was built in order to facilitate life to be as easy as possible for you. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying in the existence of the United States there haven't been straight, cis, white men who've struggled. Of course there have been. But what I am saying is, You are insulated from consequences that directly disenfranchise people who aren't within that in-group. Speedy Yoshi says, if you're a woman typo. If you're a woman or a man who doesn't deserve his balls, don't worry, John, I don't need my balls. I can just drain your dad's. Sweet Bunny Mommy says, this whole video seems like a desperate attempt to stay relevant. How often is he even posting to YouTube anymore? Not very often. Let me look. The amount of videos he's put out have been way lower. This is the one we're watching from yesterday.
Figure. And what that means.
And then 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, 2 months ago. The move really screwed him up. But also I think he's being lazy. Did Don just say he wanted a hot dog from a daddy? I don't know. He says a lot of weird shit. I didn't notice. Queen says, can we all just agree that to ignore Chet and focus on Colin? He's way more like Tom. Wagroad says, how much money do we have to give Jake to send him to this? I'm gonna say they wouldn't let Jake in. Lily Love Stuff says, aren't people like John the ones that say anything in a movie that is a bi, POC, woman, or of LGBT representation political? Yes. There are two races, white and political. And John is very upset that now white is political also.
And what that means is that even if you'd like to be apolitical, you'd like to just live your life without having to take an interest in politics or...
That doesn't exist. People who say they're apolitical are just ignorant of the ways in which politics shape their life.
Devote any attention or energy to it. You just want to live and let live. View everybody as individuals. That's fine.
That's political. That's still a political position. Speedy Yoshi says, Jake is too much of a Sigma male for these betas. Joking, I have to say that. I don't believe in Sigma, Alpha, Beta, or whatever. Well, thanks for the clarification.
Even if that's you, though, which it probably is in the majority of cases, it doesn't matter because your existence as a white guy is going to be at the center of political discourse in this.
Your existence is political. It's just a thing for everyone. That's just reality.
Country for a very long time, or at least in orbit to the center, and it already has been for a very long time, the last decade or so in particular. So we just have to keep that in mind because politics is just defined by how things should be structured in society. And if the popular and growing attitudes in society are saying that you as a white man are responsible for atrocities XYZ, that you need to pay reparations, that you need to yield positions of power and influence to non-white guys exclusively because you're a white guy, etc., etc.,
no one is telling you to yield positions of power. They're saying that the playing field should be even, and for decades and centuries it has not been. So in order to compensate for that, we should ensure that those who aren't the same old typical white straight dudes, same as always, should probably get opportunities too. The scale was already slanted in favor of white guys, Protestant property-owning white men who weren't Irish for, most of American history. And now they're trying to even it. But you've had an advantage for so long, John, that you and people like you believe that making it more equal is all of a sudden disadvantaging you, when really you had an unfair advantage to start with. Sorry. Von Tuck says, who wants to bet the wrestling he mentioned will involve penetration? Speedy Yoshi says, how political are you? I'm black, gay, autistic, and adopted. That's probably at least 4 political points. Hannah, you're a trans woman who's bisexual and has the ADHD. That's 3 political points. I beat you. H. Baird says, how many school boards devolve into screaming matches over white guys wanting to go to school, John? Sorry, I went to the beach today and the inside of my ear is really itchy.
You just have to understand that whether you like it or not, the fact that you are a white guy is in itself political. And you can't change that without changing the politics.
Everyone is political, John.
Of society, because
everyone is in some category or multiple categories that is political. You actually have fewer than normal, if I'm being honest with you.
You had no say in being born white, and you definitely had no say in being...
I shouldn't even say that, because you being a man is political, you being cis is political, you being straight is political, you being somewhat well off in your upbringing is political, in the same way that me being white is political, me being trans is political, me being bi is political. Whatever. We all exist in a political system. The ether through which we swim is politics, and we are all a party to it, and what we do affects everyone else swimming in the same medium. To act otherwise is just stupid. H. Baird says, oh no, Brad, that one. Ice Queen says, your ear is itchy. What were you in Baja doing at the beach? I probably just got water in it or something.
Being born a boy, and you're never going to change that is who you are. So what it comes down to is like literally developing an attitude of, yeah, I'm a white guy, who cares? That's kind of epic. Because for the rest of your life, I would guess, you are going to be viewed by society through a political lens. Not
like everyone else. Welcome to reality.
a fraternizing lens, and
Killjoy says, Hannah, we're living in a political world, and I am a political...
definitely not a transparent lens. Like, you are increasingly going to be blamed for everything wrong in society proportionately.
Not white guys, but fascists like you, John? Yeah, because you're really, really shitty and cause problems for everyone.
To how many of these boxes you check. White, male, straight, Christian. And I say this because it's definitely something to keep...
Ah, yes, the poor Christian in the Christian majority country of America. Those poor, poor Christians.
Keep in mind as we go forward, but also because given that this is the case, even if we do something funny like, haha, white boy summer, that is eventually going to become interpreted as a political thing regardless of our intentions.
Because it got co-opted by groypers, and you know this, John.
Because we are viewed almost exclusively by society.
Literally,
and by
Nick Fuentes, white boy summer. Gotta find it. Recently, they were chanting White Boy Summer. White Boy Summer from meme to mobilization. Oh look, it's a meme, White Boy Summer, and it's Hitler. This is in the thumbnail from John Doyle. There's more of them now. John, I don't know how to tell you this, but when white nationalists... Oh, that's a good one. When white nationalists co-opt something like this, then it's political. It's political because literal neo-Nazis started doing it. Oh, look, white boy summer. And he's doing the hand thing. That was ironic, and then it became unironic. White boy summer, and then they have a sign that says, why are Jews allowed to suck baby dicks? Oh look, another white nationalist group. Oh look, white boy summer at Lake Havasu. It's almost like white nationalists and neo-Nazis co-opted the meme, which happens. And you know this, John, because you're a party to it, and I would imagine your Discord is full of shit like this. So stop being a disingenuous piece of shit, you slimy bastard. Muddy says, ah yes, the four genders. Salvador says, CPAC. Is that when he did the thing? 0M80 says, you might have swimmer ears. You mix 1 part rubbing alcohol and 1 part distilled white vinegar and drip it in your... or by eardrops. Okay.
By those with influence in the media and academia, et cetera, in particular, as a political thing. So we're simultaneously told that white people don't even really exist, not racially, not culturally, not in any real sense beyond appearance, but also that we are collectively responsible.
I believe that's a reference to the fact that the... why can't I think of it? The Wikipedia page for Caucasian says that it is an outdated classification for, you know, a racial group of people. Which, yeah, true.
Majority of the world's problems, we always have been because of slavery, because of colonization, because of whatever. And that's always the punchline for me, because it's like, white people have no shared culture. Really? Really? Because at the very least, we have the shared cultural experience of being told that we have no shared culture and also that everything is our fault. And even talking about white people makes a lot of people uncomfortable. It tends to make people on the left angry unless you're disparaging the entire group.
Not really. No. Simple Cat Girl says, when it comes from Nazi, people are allowed to shit on it. John 0M80 says, you might have I read that one, sorry. Sweetie Bunny Mommy says, love you, Hannah, and how you talk down to these chuds. EO180 says, I don't exist. No, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go.
But it also tends to make people on the right anxious, like, hey man, why are you talking about white people? Are you some kind of Nazi or something? No. But on that note, a useful barometer for determining whether a person with whom you're speaking is actually interested in honest discussion about these things is asking them to say something positive about white people as a group or something negative about non-white people as a group. Think about that. And even that.
They just call me racist when I do racist things. Citosaurus says, oh wow, just got back from a haircut and get to hear a whiny man baby who thinks he's so clever. OMG, guys, he's such a tool.
That idea probably is making some people anxious right now. But seriously.
Adira Ray, I'm glad you could make it. Lily Love Stuff says, why do I feel like older black person called John a white boy once and he's been struggling with the oppression ever since? The oppression is in air quotes.
Think about that.
Just quotes, not air quotes. It's air quotes when I do this. It's quotes when it's written.
If you're going to berate white people for reasons ABC and then celebrate non-white people for reasons XYZ, the best way for me to tell if you're being honest, given that no group of anything has unfailingly positive...
John, like, let's say I'm talking about the history of the United States, and I talk about the fact that historically, people in power have favored policies that disenfranchise non-white people and put white people in a more favorable position. I'm not telling you that because you are white that you are a bad person. I am saying this is a problem that exists and we are still dealing with today and we should do something about it. That is not telling you, as a white person, which I also am, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm whiter than you. It does not mean that you are to blame. It means that you should recognize this as an issue and do something about it. If you get blamed for something like that, then it's not because you're white, it's because you happen to be a person who is perpetuating the idea that these policies are good, right? Let me give you an example. Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson is a black guy, right? He's not... How do I put this? I'm not blaming Jesse Lee Peterson because he's white, because he's not white. Jesse Lee Peterson is a problem because he helps perpetuate problems in our society and tries to ignore solutions to them. That's the issue. It has nothing to do with your race, John. It has everything to do with the fact that you happen to be a white nationalist, which we all know you are, John. Chrysia says, maybe don't talk about people as groups, John, you fucking fascist. And Muddy with a link. It's White Boy Summer, and it's just a leg man.
Positive tendencies is for me to ask you to flip it. Like, okay, now tell me a criticism that you have of black culture. And they can't do it. Rather, they won't do it because they're dishonest. I can tell you things I like and dislike about anything because I'm an honest person, but they...
What don't you like about... I feel like if you ask John, for instance, what don't you like about white people as a group, which is kind of a ridiculous question in the first place, but let's say we're playing this game with him, and I said, John, what don't you like about white people? His answer would be similar to when you get asked in a job interview, like, what are your weaknesses? Where really you say strengths, but as weaknesses. Like, John would probably say something along the lines of, I think white people aren't very good at protecting our culture. I don't think white people are very good at showing other people how much we've brought to the world. Like, it would all be, like, white supremacist talking points wrapped in a half criticism that's really just him saying that white people need to be more white nationalisty. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that's what he would do.
Can't because they're dishonest. They're not interested in discussing legitimate problems and solutions. They're interested in ideological self-interest and conformity dopamine. Think about that, though. Like,
by the way, John, you said back in, like, late November, you said the MAGA hat was never coming off, and then you took it off and it was on your desk for a while, which I was like, yeah, the MAGA hat's off, but it's still a permanent part of your set, so I guess that doesn't make you a liar. It's a metaphorical, the MAGA hat never comes off. And now the MAGA hat isn't on the desk at all? It's almost like he realized it's toxic to your brand to be connected to an abject fucking loser. Is that what happened, John? Do you want to talk about that, John?
Why do we get anxious when we talk about white people in a way that isn't negative? It's because of propaganda conditioning. It is the same reason that we flinch when we hear far right, but not far left. The same reason that we flinch when we hear fascism, but not communism. And it's
because fascism is an actual thing in the United States, and communism isn't.
you have been subject.
When's the last time you remember communists getting together with tiki torches and killing someone with a car? When's the last time a communist drove up to the Library of Congress with a bomb, allegedly, and was like, I'm gonna blow up 2 blocks if yada 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 yada? Which happened the other day when he was, a QAnon type dude. So, John, the reason that we hear about one and not the other is because one is real. And one is a boogeyman you're trying to use to deflect from the fact that your side has become incredibly radicalized towards violence.
To incessant propaganda campaigns for probably your entire life, depending on how old you are. Like, every time you're in a classroom and you're taught that white people only are evil slave traders and colonizers, every time you see the memes that always seem to go...
John, I've been in public school, I've been in private school. Neither of them taught that. They taught the real historical facts, that there were groups of people that helped form America, and those people put in place policies that were bad, and that they were slave owners, but they also sucked their dicks. Have you been to an American classroom? They suck the founding fathers' dicks dry.
Viral of, haha, these white guys, they look like they pay too much for weed. I'm totally owning them for not having knowledge of drug dealing be a greater part of their culture. Every time...
Jesus Christ, John's got to stick up his ass.
You read an article about how white children are racist because science says so. All of that is literal propaganda that your brain processes.
Science is propaganda, guys.
Into subconscious associations. And
when science doesn't agree with or makes me sad, it's propaganda.
Time that will train you to flinch whenever white people are spoken about in terms that aren't explicitly negative, because your brain is telling you that this is deviant from the perceived group consensus. White people are lame. They can't dance. They don't season their food. They're dorky. They're out.
White man can't jump was anti-white propaganda all along. Kirthan says John doesn't have a stick up his ass. If he did, he might be more fun.
Out of touch. They're old. And I know all of this because of tens of thousands of independently processed pieces of media and information that I've consumed over the course of my life. That's how that works, by the way, like neurologically speaking. And the people who disagree with me would agree with me if it were happening to other groups of people, but it isn't, so they lie. It's the same thing with fascism and not communism, because you were shown graphic images of mass graves and emaciated bodies at a very young age when you were in public school, and you were...
John, I'm aware of gulags and Stalinist USSR, and hot take, they're bad and also atrocities. It's almost like there isn't an active communist presence or threat in the United States to any significant extent. Meanwhile, 30% of registered Republicans have gone full fucking conspiracy theory fascist who want the military to perform a coup to install Donald Trump as president for life. It's almost like these two things are completely different. Weird.
We're told...
Like, he's comparing, like... Caleb fucking Maupin, Burger Kang or Borger Kang loser guy who works for RT to, like, people who actually threaten to try and kill Congress people. It's fucking ridiculous. Ice Queen says there isn't, puts away my hammer and sickle.
This is what the far right is. But you weren't told anything about the tens of millions of people slaughtered under communism.
I literally was. John, you and I both went to school in Michigan. I went to a public school, the thing you're bitching about, and I know your family was kind of wealthy, so maybe you went to a private school, and maybe your private school didn't go into that for some reason. I guess public school education is just superior, based on your own criteria.
And why is that? Because the communists wrote the textbooks. And if you
The communists wrote the textbooks. The fascists built NASA, though, so I guess we're even.
can water down fascism
That's an Operation Paperclip joke. You can have that one for free.
to simply mean opposition to the left, then you can define conservatism as fascism. And if you can crystallize the association between white people and Nazis, then you can define any white people who aren't explicitly allied with the left as Nazis.
No, John, you get called a Nazi because you're a fascist, and the rumor was on your Discord there were people... Do I even want to... Let me be clear. This is a rumor. I did not see this firsthand. Because there was a rumor that your Discord got pulled because people on it were RPing as SS officers during the Holocaust and Jewish victims being killed by them. Gee, is that why maybe you get called a Nazi? That's weird. Colston says I went to... Allegedly. And Colston says I went to Catholic high school in MIA. They definitely talked about Stalin's gulags. Lily Lovestuff says most textbooks are from Texas, so Texas is a communist state. The textbook thing is actually interesting. There's basically two markets for textbooks, and that's California and Texas. The California ones tend to be more progressive-leaning in their politics, and the Texas ones, of course, are more conservative-leaning. Moppy Mutton says, I remember the black and Asian Nazi regiments, don't you?
Which is exactly where we are now. And I'm going to keep explaining this. But afterwards, I'm also going to explain why we're not Nazis, white nationalists, all the things that they slander us with. And not because we're trying to convince them, since they're always just going to lie about us anyways, but because there are a lot of people who just don't understand what these things mean because it's all very cloudy. There's a lot of white noise, pun not intended, because the degree to which the left controls the flow of information in this country. So there are a lot of people who would listen to a journalist cherry pick quotes from this monologue to conflate what I'm saying with something.
Not me, John. I have integrity. I'm listening to the whole thing.
Hateful, but if you sat the same person down over coffee, they would understand the differences and that we're actually completely reasonable. So
You're really, really not. Being polite and doing the whole Richard Spencer thing of putting on a suit, or in your case, trying to be, I'm cool, I'm hip with the kids, look at me, I got a printed button-up t-shirt that I have open. Woo! White boy summer. The extensive attention to trying to look casual and normal and cordial in your speech isn't a good long-term strategy, John, because people just wise up to it and look past that and actually look at your rhetoric and recognize that you're a white nationalist. That's why you get called out. Because your dog whistling, everyone gets now. Because your faux politeness, people see through it. Nice is different than good. You can act as nice as you want. You can put on as many suits as you want. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you still have Richard Spencer yelling racial slurs and hidden, audio recordings. You still have Nick Fuentes being a Holocaust denier. You still have all the shit that goes down on your Discord. Okay? People aren't stupid. Not that stupid, at least. Ice Queen says, so he's admitting to being a white nationalist, closes book.
that's why they slander. They cherry pick quotes. They deplatform. They refuse to engage directly. It's because they are liars. They are liars. It's kind of a basic point, but it's still important to remember. You know what else is something important to remember? Product mode can sneak up on you at any time. You know what else can sneak up on you at any time? The threat of danger. This is because, folks, it's getting crazier out there, and more of you are choosing to exercise your Second Amendment right.
Oh, look, the right-wing tactic of fear porn, fear porn, fear porn, fear porn. They're coming for your identity. You're being demonized. Time for an ad break. Let me sell you gold for the apocalypse or guns to kill minorities when there's a race war.
Right to keep and bear arms with an American-made We the People Holston for your $10.
Did you just do a bacon joke in 2021? Hold on.
Tactical gun belt with the proprietary Talon buckle. They even have their own line of bacon jerky that's been flying off the shelves. You ever
Oh no, that's a real thing they got.
hear the phrase "when pigs fly"? This is actually what that was in reference to. Yet
You gotta love someone who still does the bacon meme in 2021.
and/or white people do anything. /Doyle, very epic, but it's so true. Anytime conservatives and/or white people do anything, political or not, it's always compared to Nazis. And it's because, as we've talked
The other day, I saw a white guy in a Starbucks drinking coffee, and I said, "You fucking Nazi! The Nazis drank coffee!" My hair was dyed blue at the time as well, because, you know, you've seen memes.
Talked about in other videos, this country historically has been predominantly white, and so the group of people who have the largest incentive in preserving the country against communists are white people.
What?
Now, that doesn't mean that non-white people can't love America, can't live here.
This is, again, just white nationalist rhetoric where he's like, historically, America has had mostly white people, so the non-white people that live here have no vested interest in protecting it. What? They live here. What are you talking about, John? Are you fucking stupid? No, he's just evil. I know.
Lots of them do. Lots of them are even in this audience. So that's not what that means at all. It's just to say...
You thought Nazis did meth? They probably also masturbated. John's a neo-Nazi, okay? New rules.
Say that there is a reason that 85% of the votes for the Republican Party are from white people. So if you can...
Yeah, America is majority white, but typically the Democrats get more votes from non-white people because the Republican Party demonizes non-white people all the time and enacts policies that hurt minority groups.
Turn the society against white people, then you'll be able to stop the largest impediment to the total transformation of the country into something unrecognizable to even someone as young as myself. It's the same way that if you wanted to completely restructure China, you'd try to turn the country against the Chinese. Or if...
What? That doesn't even mean anything, John. If you want to take over Germany, you turn everyone against Germans. That's actually not what happened, John. No. Typically, if you want to take over a country effectively, you demonize a minority group, like, for instance, Jewish people in Germany in the 1930s, and say, all of our financial problems are their fault. They're a secret cabal of bankers who are trying to undermine the Rhineland's success. We better get rid of them and destroy their businesses and give their homes to real Germans. And then you take power using fear tactics and othering minority groups. Gee, which political party does that sound more like? Krizia says, just because you don't know that China has ethnic groups doesn't mean they don't have ethnic groups, John, you stupid fascist. Yeah, he did just say all Chinese people are just Chinese, as if there aren't internal distinctions that people in China, you know, make note of.
If you wanted to completely restructure Russia, then you try to turn the country against the Russians. Now, granted, you would never be able to pull things like that off in those countries, but the principle basically remains the same. And our enemies know that this is true.
Moppy Mutton says, Nazis were inspired by U.S. eugenics and segregation, but that's none of my business.
Which is why anytime we do anything, whether it's as conservatives or whether it's a meme, White Boy Summer, we get called Nazis because it's effective and it shuts us down. Because like we said, everybody knows from the time they're born that being a Nazi or being a racist is the worst thing you could be. Being a...
Yeah, they're not good. They're like at the... There's like... I'd actually put Nazis above murder because Nazis want to genocide, traditionally speaking. So let's say Nazis, murderers, R-worders, and other sexual assaulters, racists, narcissists, list goes on. But yeah, Nazis are pretty high up there, you know, because of the genocide.
Communist is fine. Being a racist against...
John, literally nowhere in any American rhetoric, anywhere, are you told communism is fine. Have you existed in the same cultural zeitgeist I have? Like, John and I make jokes about John being young because he is like 21, but we're not that different in age. I'm only 6 years older than John. I'm as older than John as Jake is older than me, if that helps. So it's weird watching John knowing that, like, this is how old Jake perceives me to be, relatively speaking. John, at no point in our lifetimes has communism ever been touted as a good thing by mainstream media, by educational systems. It's just not. Maybe in college you get some professors who want to talk about how capitalism has flaws. And guess what, John? It does. You criticize capitalism too. I've seen you do it. and Marx gets referenced sometimes, specifically because Marx is one of the most influential economic thinkers of the 20th century, whether you agree with him or not. But the vast majority of people are not Marxist or communists, are not sympathetic to those ideas. What world are you living in?
Against white people is fine. Those are even promoted and encouraged. But regardless, it shuts us down because we are terrified of those labels. Even though we know they're lies, and even though the majority of people in this country probably know they're lies, it doesn't matter because the fear of being deviated from the group consensus is just that powerful. And so our only chance at winning is to have the courage to stand up against those lies until we're in a position where we can hold the liars accountable, which is done by having courage and setting examples for others to follow. And then, maybe down the line.
Senshishi says, oh no, you're doing a meme. Okay, you're making fun of it because you said, actually. Thank God. I really didn't want to argue with the Chud about the Holocaust right now. He got me for a second, though.
And we get to a point where we can expand the libel and defamation laws to include terms like that so that their propaganda is less effective because they won't be able to just throw around words like, oh, Nazi, oh, white.
I missed 20 years. Hold on. Chrysia says, Jesus Christ, John, there's entire narratives about the ethnic conflicts in Russia, John. Like, even in the modern day, does John think people watch, oh God, what's it called? Is it The Death of Stalin? Which is a very funny movie that I would highly recommend, by the way. Does he think, The Death of Stalin, or if we're looking at something more serious, like Chernobyl, does he think people look at those and go, wow, communism looks awesome? Willie Love Stuff says, I got called a communist earlier today because I said the U.S. downplays the Soviet contributions to defeating the Nazis, and apparently that was glorifying the Soviet Union. That's really, really dumb. You can both recognize that the Soviet Union was pretty important in defeating Germany in World War II, and also recognize that Stalin is a genocidal sack of shit. Both can be true.
Nationalists without being at risk of a reasoned and effectual lawsuit. That's really the most offensive part about it to me. It's just lazy. It's poor craftsmanship. If you're going to lie, at least make it original. You betray yourself by appealing to the established moral framework. Oh, this guy's a Nazi, and we all know that Nazis are bad.
Do you think Nazis aren't bad, John? I think your mask is a little...
You've exercised virtually no brain power. I'm a guy. I appreciate a good insult when I hear one. I appreciate some verbal sparring. But when you just say, Nazi, because Nazi is when you don't like communism and are socially conservative, or even though...
No, Nazism is when you're an ethno-nationalist, especially one that is anti-Semitic. Being an ethno-nationalist, hating Jewish people, demonizing communism doesn't hurt, and I'm not saying you have to be pro-communism, but it's a piece of rhetoric that falls into the Nazi thing very often. Interestingly, especially with neo-Nazis, which is weird considering that communism is not at all a presence in U.S. politics. So it's like they're just cribbing from the original Nazi playbook without any thought as to the context that they are existing in. It's very weird. But yes, the demonization of progressive people, Jews, minorities, promoting ethno-nationalism. Yeah, these are things that aren't Nazi shit. Ice Queen says, can we at least agree it says something that the Soviet Union put a woman in space 20 years before we did, give or take? The Soviet Union, Russia in general, had a interestingly more egalitarian view on women in governmental roles. Women were enlisted in combat roles in the Soviet military during World War II. So, it's just a different culture.
McLovin, because white guy with glasses and dark hair, it's just lazy. We've heard it a million times, and
John, you regularly make fun of how other people look and say things like physiognomy check. You have no right to complain about people saying jokes about how you look. Now, I avoid it. I really try not to do that because I just think making fun of how people look in a political discussion of any sort is stupid and makes you look like a jackass and really, 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 really weakens your argument. But, you do that, so you're just a hypocrite.
You're just betraying the fact that you don't have knowledge or insight.
So when you say physiognomy check, you're saying you don't have knowledge or insight. I'm glad we're on the same page. It's just weird that you're admitting it.
Transcends an airport bookstore. We're off topic, but I can't help it. As I've gotten older, and I'm still young, but
Mike Max with a link. Me, I swear I won't get political tonight. 3 drinks later, I serve the Soviet Union. Hydrate. Okay.
Really just developed a strong contempt for people who lie. They're literally tattletales. And it just gets back to the fact that your intuition is your greatest anchor for navigating the world other than the Bible. Like when you're a kid, all the things you think are cool are actually really cool. Soldiers, tanks, race cars, trains, building things, being a pirate. Being a pirate, then you're older and you're like, yeah, I was right. Those things are actually really cool, but it goes both ways. What are the things you disliked the most? Tattletales. These are kids who would sell you out to the established power structures for literally no reason other than getting off on watching you suffer. Not kids who would tell the teacher if you like knocked over their block tower or something. You deserve that. But kids who would snitch on you for doing something that had absolutely no effect on them whatsoever. Simply.
Is John mad that he got reported on Twitter and he got banned? Is this what this is about?
Because they got off on it because they're little sociopaths.
Or is he mad about people at the January 6th thing at the Capitol are getting told on to the FBI by their families and stuff? Uh-oh, is John afraid he's next? I don't think he was there to my knowledge, but, wouldn't surprise me.
These are the kids who grow up to become journalists, and they're not cool. They're lame.
I haven't done the Styx thing, no. I haven't done Styx in a while. I just don't find him that interesting anymore. He just says the same shit. I don't know. I'll get back into it eventually, but... Simple Cat Girl says, OMG, is he acting like people on the left hated pirates? Oh my god, John, you have no idea. Chrysia says, reporting people to the authorities is the opposite of sociopathy. I think it honestly really depends. If you're reporting someone for they're in possession of a small amount of marijuana or something that doesn't hurt anyone, I agree that's stupid. But if someone actually commits an assault or a robbery or something and they hurt people, yeah, then you should report them to the police. Baja says he's probably mad because his BFF Nick got banned. That's probably true. Oh yeah, Nick did finally get banned off Twitter, didn't he?
And we're further off topic, but it's okay. We hit on the inevitable connection between White Boy Summer and Nazis. Actually, there is one more point on that, which is that the memes that the journalists were complaining about had pictures of Nazis and they said White Boy Summer, and the journos are like, see, I told you so, and they're so...
Yeah. White nationalists today that exist on the online space dip themselves in about 30 levels of irony to try and hide the fact. Do you guys remember a while ago on Reddit, this was a year or two ago, they literally had a Nazi subreddit where they talked to each other in baby talk to try and hide their intention? Neo-Nazis always try to hide the fact that they're neo-Nazis in the absolutely most embarrassing ways, and I guess we're on to deep-frying memes of Hitler.
Have you seen Lou?
Uh-uh.
She's not up here?
I haven't seen her.
Okay.
Well, no, they're actually just lying. Because it's the reason that White Boy Summer memes end up having Nazi imagery is because, as we've discussed, anytime white people do anything, it's too white, it's racist, it's not diverse enough, it's not
Is he unironically going to try and say they put Hitler in the meme ironically? I'm sure the people I showed you a picture of earlier who put that sign up that was why do Jews get to suck baby dick or whatever? I'm sure they were doing it ironically too.
equitable, etc. And the conclusion of those...
The reference on the sign, by the way, is to a religious ritual connected to, I want to say, Hasidic Judaism involving the bris. I forget the specific name. But, some sects of Hasidic Jews during the bris, the rabbi, after doing the circumcision, will suck the blood off the baby's penis with his mouth. Which, I'm not going to lie, I also think is weird, but making it an anti-Semitic thing is very strange when it's just a really old, out-of-date, cringy ritual.
implications is always the same. Nazis. And so people are just doubling down on it. Yeah, okay, call us Nazis. We'll just embrace it for our memes. Why?
You called us a Nazi, so I'm going to embrace Nazi imagery. Ironically. I'm definitely not a Nazi, though.
Because Nazis wearing pit vipers is funny, okay? It's a good bit. You can have Hot Girl Summer, which...
Princess Amelia says, the worst bit for me is how rambling John's videos are. John, this is pre-recorded. Make a script, stick to the script, it'll make your videos more watchable. I unironically think this is a scripted video for him. This is how he talks when he has talking points. He doesn't have a literal script that he reads, but he, He has bullet points, I think he goes over.
which not only objectifies young women, but that's a call to action. It's not just a meme, it's a call to action. It says, dress provocatively, sleep around, have a hoe phase.
Yes, and is he unironically saying that the white girl's summer or whatever the fuck that song was called is telling women to go be promiscuous and therefore it's worse than Nazis? There's so many levels of wrong to that statement. I don't even know where to start addressing them.
Drink, use drugs, do whatever you want as long as it degrades you. That's perfectly fine and celebrated and promoted in the media, but God forbid a couple memes get posted of Nazis wearing pit vipers and all.
He's unironically being like, we only posted a few Nazi memes, guys. It was ironic, okay? Just because the mods on my Discord are called stormtroopers doesn't mean we're Nazis. That and when I was on his Discord, the mods on his Discord were called stormtroopers. That was their role name. I'm not kidding. Just because we post memes of Nazis with white nationalist symbols doesn't mean we're Nazis. Just because I'm friends with Nick Fuentes, who's a literal neo-Nazi who denies the Holocaust, doesn't mean we're Nazis. John, I'm gonna say this once, just because I can't even believe I'm saying this. John, at least the Nazis in the 1930s had the balls to come out and be like, we're fucking Nazis. You're a bigger bitch than a fucking Nazi, an OG Nazi who got their ass handed to them. Okay? At least like fucking Goebbels and Hitler were like, we are Nazis, yes, we are Nazis, yeah, we do not like the Jews. You're just here being a fucking crypto-fascist like a bitch. Like a fucking bitch. It's embarrassing. Frankly, it's fucking embarrassing. And I'm me. So think about that for a second. Then me, thinks you are fucking embarrassing. That's so bad. How do you even recover from that? Muddy says, yes, if you want to. Do whatever you want as long as it isn't hurting people. This is a hoe-safe area. Did you find her? One sec. I gotta check and make sure Baja found the kitty.
Yeah, I found her.
Okay.
Thank you.
The kitty is found. Just making sure.
All of a sudden, the journalists are melting down. I'll be honest with you, and I know that I'm right on this. I am more offended by a cultural trend that tells young women, our sisters and daughters, that degrading themselves through immodest and sinful behavior is empowering.
Our sisters and daughters, that's how they're defined, not as their own individual people. They only exist as they exist in relation to myself.
Than I am by a photo of Adolf Hitler wearing pit vipers. And in fact,
Yeah, we know, John. I know you're not offended by Adolf Hitler. I imagine you like the guy. That actually might not be true. There are some neo-Nazis, and especially nowadays, like alt-right fascists who don't like Hitler because he fucking lost, because he was a loser and a drug addict, and they view him as, not strong enough to actually win the war. So maybe John does hate Hitler, but he certainly likes the things Hitler liked. Other than the amphetamines. I don't think John's on amphetamines.
I think it's pretty funny. And I'll actually ruin the joke by explaining why it's funny. It's because you've got pit vipers, which are, these really obnoxious sunglasses, which are implicitly white sunglasses because they're popular with skiers and snowboarders. Those also happen to be overwhelmingly white activities. What can I say? We like the snow. And so you take that, and then you're like, what else do they say is a white activity? Oh, being a Nazi. Boom.
Yeah, John, I don't know how to break this to you, but non-white nationalists don't think this is a funny joke. They just roll their eyes and go, oh, edgy alt-righters. Great. This is only funny if you're someone like John Doyle, or you're like 16 and haven't learned to be a person yet.
Hitler wearing pit vipers. It's objectively a good bit. You're juxtaposing a silly-looking pair of sunglasses with a universally...
Why is Hitler hot in it? Is that part of the joke, John? I mean, it's obviously part of the joke, but why is it part of the joke?
Condemned historical figure, and it's funny. And people might
Why didn't you use Stalin then? Wouldn't that work even better since you think Stalin is an even worse person than Hitler? You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying here? If you think Stalin is worse than Hitler, and people who agree with you think the same thing, and you're making a joke about juxtaposition, then surely you should use the worse person, right? So Stalin. But you didn't use Stalin, you used Hitler. And all the other memes also used, like, white nationalist ideology. Imagery, rather. Moppy Mutton says, here in Portland, Proud Boys and citizens been fighting in the streets and the cops are backing off. I don't know how much I can show.
Just questioned the mayor.
Elizabeth, according to the where left-wing and right-wing groups traded punches and pepper spray. Today, Mayor Ted Wheeler pointed out there have been far fewer destructive demonstrations lately in the city.
Holding people accountable has clearly made an impact.
Calls elsewhere. Given this potential strain on the Bureau, I asked if the city is
working with partners to
announce hate and violence. In that event, District Attorney Mike Schmidt said violence and destruction wouldn't be tolerated.
I continue to condemn those things. It has no legitimate...
might say, oh, you're laughing.
Is this just going to be a thing? Do we have to beat the shit out of fascists every 100 years now? Because that sucks. Be nice if they just learned to be normal people.
Is something that's really bad, so you're not taking it seriously. The fact is, I actually take it more seriously. Because if you know anything about...
Carnio1 says, just a thought, you know, conservatives would love the TVA. Go Hannah. Vontuck says, Ghost Ezra turned out to be a Florida man. The least surprising thing ever. Yep. Ghost Ezra. Big account on Telegram. Biggest QAnon account. Posts anti-Semitic conspiracy theories constantly. And literal OG Nazi propaganda images. Turns out he's a Florida man. Surprise. I gotta find out if John Doyle has a Telegram. Hold on. I downloaded Telegram a while back. And it was a terrible decision. I'm just trying to keep tabs on these people. Let me look. John Doyle. No? Don't see him. Ice Queen says, wait, so the mayor was white. Doesn't that mean he's a Nazi? Joe Biden, white. He's a Nazi too, right? Dr. Gamble with some bits.
To suggest,
I can't play a clip from The Good Place.
He's from Florida? Yeah. To suggest, he's from Florida?
Yeah. People from Florida immediately go to the bad place.
Humor, you know that it largely comes down to contrast, and me laughing at Hitler wearing pit vipers means that I recognize a stark contrast, which actually means that I take...
Right, but John, the contrast can be between the silliness of the shades and the seriousness of Hitler as well. The joke also works for white nationalists and was made by white nationalists. You know this. We know this. We're not dumb. Robert Morley with 100 bits says, Majestic 12 for President 2024. I've been following the Majestic 12 account that Peter references so often, and it's kind of hilarious. It's so bad.
Take it more seriously.
Hype Train, 26% to level 1.
Than you do. So I'm a better person than you if you don't think it's funny. So...
You got me, John. I don't find your Hitler meme funny, therefore, I'm the real Nazi. That's the secret.
Hot Girl Summer says, do things that will...
Morok says, okay, off topic, but I don't think you follow the web series Hell of a Boss. It's an independent adult animated series on YouTube, and their most recent episode was absolutely bomb. If you like raunchy, gory animated comedies, I highly recommend. Alright, thanks. Mr. X8, thanks for 8 months of subscription. Oh my god. Why? What? I assume that's bait. No one eats wings like that. I'm a boneless wings person myself anyway. I know they're adult chicken nuggets, but I don't care. They're more chicken cutlets. They're like mini chicken tenders. Robert Morley, thank you for gifting 10 Tier 1 subs to the community. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. You're always so generous. Thank you. Sidosaurus says, Hannah to white nationalists. Why can't you just be normal? Screams.
Make you depressed and corrode your soul, and that's fine. White
TikTok
boy summer
cleanse.
says nothing. There's no
that each other exist.
What, don't know they exist?
Sharks have no fucking clue that camels exist, and nobody's talking about it. That each other exist.
How do you
What, don't know
okay,
they
do you just click
exist?
on it once to full screen TikToks?
Sharks have no fucking clue that camels exist, and nobody's talking about it. That each other.
Ice Queen says, so maybe you can mess with Peter through the Majestic 12 telegram? I mean, I don't have access to post from it. I just read it. Krizia, thanks for gifting 5 Tier 1 subs. I've honestly been thinking about... I don't know how I would get Peter's attention, but I really want to start this fake... Because I already have an account that's a fake name, and I kind of wanted to start doing stuff on it, but I can't think of a way to ethically do it that doesn't further QAnon claims and stuff, so I'm not going to do it. But I really want to create a fake account that I already have and use it to lure Peter in and get him to start repeating some of the bullshit I'm saying to show him, you believe anything anyone says as long as it agrees with you. I am that account. Abby, my dudes, thanks for gifting us up. Ice Queen says, I meant to ask questions and get them to give weird answers. I don't think you can comment on their main account. You gotta go to their chat page. E-Tune says, have to dip out for game night. Night, y'all. Have a good night.
checklist, so I made one. Stand by. But yeah, anything that will breed mental illness in society is promoted. Anything else is either ignored or demonized.
Getting dick promotes mental illness, apparently. Ice Queen says, made it weed related, maybe? Yeah, that'd probably help. Sidosaur says, you might run into issues getting him to believe you if he still watches the streams. Well, I wouldn't tell you guys what I was doing. I would only reveal it later.
But as far as the actual definitions go, unless you want a militantly enforced white ethno-state, you're not a white nationalist. Unless you want white people...
Yeah, that's you. That's you, John. We know that's you.
...people to rule...
I think it's actually a little more subtle than that initially. I think John wants to do that in sort of a long con way of slowly taking over institutions with political power. You don't have to want to take over a country militarily in order to be a white nationalist. You just have to want to take it over in order to benefit one specific racial group.
...over every other race of people on Earth, you're not a white supremacist. Those are the definitions of those terms. And the only reason the definitions are stretched is to appeal to the negative attitudes surrounding the terms without maintaining the necessary integrity to apply them correctly. Because if they were honest, then they couldn't use those terms, which are very effective rhetorical weapons. So don't buy into it because it's all BS. And don't let anyone you know who's reasonable buy into it either. So there's that. But yeah, you can and will be accused of that, even if you just acknowledge that white people have any positive tendencies as a group. That's why so many people just refuse to acknowledge that they're white. Great example of this recently.
What?
Was with Chris Rufo, I think his name is.
I don't know a single white person that refuses to admit that they're white. What are you talking about?
Oh, watch this clip.
Ask you what, particularly if you're saying whiteness is a thing that is being constructed as negative and shouldn't be. Name something positive that you like about being white.
Well, sure. I'll.
Ice Queen says Rachel Dolezal. That's actually true. That's one. That's one. What's she up to? That must have ruined her life, right?
I'll answer with a thing. There's a lot of documents that are floating around public schools that say things like timeliness, showing up on time, is a white supremacist value or a white dominant value. Things like.
Robert Morley says, Hype Train needs a push. Who's your bits daddy with 2,500 bits? Colston says she posts feet pics on OnlyFans. Wagrode says you could somehow invoke the alien BS Peter believes in healing woo, really targeted to Peter. Yeah. I don't know how you would find it, though, you know? It's hard to find things on Telegram. 133% to level 5 Hype Train. Thanks, everyone.
Like rationality, things like the Enlightenment, things like, objectivity. And, These are very strange things to be ascribed to a racial identity. My view is that...
How about we stop ascribing specific personality traits to racial identities? You can recognize that different groups of people get treated differently in society because of racist ideas about them or because of discriminatory practices that have been put in place by people in the past or currently, while also recognizing that people are individuals that just happen to fall within groups. You can do both of those things. You can say, I am not putting any sort of stereotype on people because of the racial group they happen to be in, while also recognizing that because they are in that racial group, they are being affected differently in society than you or I are for being part of the majority racial group in the country. Procagom, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Felix Night Owl says, I've always wished I wasn't white. If you could change your skin color, Hannah, would you? To what color? No, I don't give a shit about my race. It's completely irrelevant to me. Felix Night Owl, just read that one. Citosaurus says, I have the last of my bits. Time for pizza. Hope it won't irritate the hole where my tooth used to be. Ooh, careful. Crizia says, but they're kind of right. Scheduled time is a very European thing that doesn't really exist in non-European cultures in general. I don't know anything about that. So.
That these are actually should be ascribed.
I'm skeptical of that claim. People need to do shit.
To every individual human being. Every individual human being, regardless of whatever racial category we impose on them.
Name something positive about being, that you believe is positive about being white.
Again, I don't buy into the framework that the world can be reduced into these metaphysical categories of...
I would agree. And that's completely compatible with the idea that even though I don't believe racist ideas about specific groups of people and putting people in these demographics and therefore labeling them with certain characteristics, and also recognizing that nonetheless, in society, people do get treated differently and are served sort of different ways by said society due to consequences of past attitudes about different racial groups and also current attitudes espoused by certain people within society. These things are compatible views.
Whiteness and blackness.
Lagroad says you can try to disguise good medical advice as woo BS. I could.
I think that's...
Again, that's an ethical issue, though. Well, I would like to sort of show Peter that he can be easily fooled. I also don't want to pull in other unsuspecting people and promote bullshit, so there's just no way I can do it. Hydrate.
That's wrong. I think we should look at people as individuals. I think we should celebrate different people's accomplishments. And again, I think the idea, you mentioned Ignatieff. Ignatieff says the goal is to, quote, abolish the white race. In any other context, this would be interpreted as a near genocidal slur. I don't buy into it. The reason I'm not going to answer your question is I reject that categorization. I think of myself as an individual human being.
It's the same thing that we talked about in the beginning, refusing to acknowledge that being white isn't actually terrible by dodging it and just pivoting to, actually, we're all individuals, which is a good point.
We are, but we exist in a society which sees people as demographics, and unfortunately different people in different demographics are served differently because of the way society categorizes them. It's not difficult to understand. Even your audience could understand it, John.
I guess. But you have to understand that you're outnumbered. Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, they all view their racial identity as incredibly important, and they're going to view you as a white person even if you don't view yourself that way.
Because society has served them differently because of their racial identities.
Which is more consequential since, again, as we discussed, literally being white is going to become increasingly political in the near future.
Jesus Christ.
And that's why
I think John was really, really scared by that recent report that the census is... They think the census is going to show that the absolute white population, not as a percentage, but the absolute white population might be going down for the first time since, like, the 1870s or something. I don't even remember. And they're freaking out about it. White nationalists, I mean, because who the fuck cares? I don't care what the racial demographics of the country are. It's irrelevant.
The left is able to lie and win arguments so effectively in terms of public perception because...
Wait, I thought it was the free market of ideas, John. If we keep winning, does that not mean that our ideas are better? But when you win, it's because of the free market of ideas. But when we win, it's because we're underhanded liars. Gotcha. Okay.
They can just appeal to the framework and definitions that they own, and we just don't have the knowledge or infrastructure to push back tangibly yet.
Guys, I love how the left is so powerful that we can own definitions. How can we be stopped?
And the ironic part of all of this is that if you really want to achieve a post-racial America where no one thinks about race, you have to let us have things like White Boy Summer. You have to let people acknowledge their differences.
John, no one's taking away White Boy Summer. They're pointing out that it was co-opted by literal neo-Nazi groups, which it was. And you know that. You're friends with the guy that helped co-opt it.
Fun of them and have fun. We were doing a pretty good job until probably Obama's second term. And you think about why. Like, you had the early 2000s. You had the Chappelle Show. Everyone made fun of everybody. You had South Park. Same thing.
Oh my god. I swear to God, South Park ruined so many young people's perception of politics and social... society in general. Like, I used to like South Park a lot as a kid, too, but I swear to God, so many, specifically, tends to be men who grew up watching South Park, decided that it was, like, absolute political genius, and everything that Trey and Matt said are automatically true, and if you disagree, you're just, like, you're either a lib cuck or a right-wing extremist. It's really, really dumb. Yoan80 says, in this one report on the one specific section, white people are basically a minority now.
You were still allowed to make racist jokes in the mainstream. But then right around the 2010s...
Yeah, South Park basically made not caring a virtue. South Park told you it's always between a giant douche and a turd sandwich, and nothing ever matters, and if you take a passionate position on anything, then you're awful, and you're a loser, and you should just leave it be. It made apathy cool, and it's really, really, really bad.
That stopped. The media started using terms like whiteness, social justice, and that just exploded, and now everybody's very tense. It's certainly tense. And all that's left is politically correct racism and tribalism. We talked about this in the woke capitalism video. Ha ha! Let's beat Norway, and we're only poking fun at Norway because we're allowed to, because they're white. Or even recently, with like the Italian memes. Ha ha, imagine being Italian. Italian people have pasta sauce for blood. Okay, how about imagine being Mexican? How about what Somalian people have for blood, right? But you won't do that because you're...
Yeah, because the overall narrative in society about those is generally dominated by actual racists. It's almost like the context in which you're making jokes matters a lot. Like, for instance, if you made that joke back when the United States predominantly really was racist against Italians, which was a period of time, not a cool joke to make. But now that Italians are just seen as, you know, another group of people who live in the United States, and there isn't really a predominant strain of racism against Italian people, people look at that meme and go, haha, funny. John, if you stop being a racist prick who supports racist pricks like Donald Trump, you could make jokes about, I don't know, Mexican people having some other stereotypical Mexican food as blood. But you can't, because unfortunately that's associated with right-wing nationalist shitbags like Donald Trump. Ice Queen says, wait a tick, wasn't every summer White Boy Summer for basically the first 240 years of the US? Yes. Speedy Yoshi says, they didn't even start out doing politics and shit in South Park, they were just doing gross random crude stuff, then people were like, oh my god, this is such political genius, and so they started doing political stuff. Like Man Bear Pig. That aged well. Princess Amelia says, other people watching South Park, wow, this is political genius. Me watching South Park, LOL poop.
You're a coward. Because racist jokes never stop being funny. The only ones that are approved now, though, are about white people or white countries, and Italians in particular, because they...
That's actually really funny and a really good indication to show you how the view of what white even is has changed a lot over time. There was a period in history in the United States, not all that long ago, that Italians were not considered white by the vast majority of Americans.
They've maintained a very distinct and unified...
Catalina Gearbox, how are you?
...culture, so obviously they want to attack that. Making anti-Italian jokes is like saying the CIA killed John Kennedy. It's like a totally Reddit tier, totally approved, non-threatening action that masquerades as actually being edgy or a threat to the establishment. But it's not. So if you unironically say...
Right, because these are not contentious issues. Cassia. Oh. Cassia and Lou are getting along. These are our kitties. Baja just tweeted this.
extend anti-Italian memes to the GC, you should be kicked. And you can only be readmitted if you say that Mexican people have Baja Blast for blood. That's the toll. But seriously, like if you want to live in a post-racial society, you have to acknowledge differences and have...
Oh, it's a Taco Bell joke. Okay.
Fun with them. Because if we just ignore and sort of like out...
That's literally the kind of joke I would imagine seeing on Reddit, if I'm being honest. Reddit has some shit like that.
Source the acknowledgement of those differences to the people who pull the strings. They're just going to pit everybody against white people, and it's not going to be a good time. It's going to...
Charizia says, viewing the Italians as culturally homogenous is so mind-numbingly dumb. Dude, Italy does not have one culture at all. Yeah. You can do that with basically any country. Even saying, like, American culture is kind of weird. We have a lot of different stuff going on. America's a big place. But that's true of basically every country of a decent size. Is even smaller countries are going to have regional differences.
Going to be tense. No one's going to have fun. That's what they always say. The elites want to pit everyone against each other. That's not true. They're not like pitting black people against Asian people. They're just pitting everybody against white people. Like even when black people beat up Asian people, what do? They call it white supremacy. So we just have to be clear with...
What is he fucking talking about?
With what we're talking about here. And ironically, it seems that the best solution is just for everybody to go back to being able to make fun of each other without serious consequences.
Guys, can I just make jokes against minorities again? I miss in middle school when I could do that and people would let me get away with it. I'm glad Twitter banned this fuck. I hope Instagram's next.
And what better environment is there for everybody to make fun of each other in than a group of guys just hanging out? This is the ethos of white boy summer. And I think that this is actually the biggest problem that they have with it, because the whole meme is basically being spread by any young guy who's right wing. So it's really not as much of a race thing as it is a gender thing.
In terms of right-wing politics, those two are related.
And we've talked a lot about this on the channel, and I will repeat it because it is so true. And that is that the biggest fear of the establishment and its servants, more than anything, I would argue, is authentic and pious masculinity that is free to channel itself. Because that's...
Because when I think righteous, true, unfettered masculinity, I think of John Doyle. Speedy Yoshi says, someone never watched the squirrel joke episode of SpongeBob.
It's the most powerful force in the world, but more importantly, it is the force that is most antithetical to everything that these people stand for and seek to do. And I really sympathize with the men in this country because they have purposefully destroyed all of the spaces that we have to fraternize with other men, and it's because those...
Like what?
Those are the spaces that we require to form bonds and relationships with other men. And now there are a lot of guys who don't really have any real friends, and it's very sad. Like, men require all male spaces, and it's not necessarily...
That's fine, then have those spaces. I don't care. I don't think the vast majority of people care.
Even because women are the problem, it's because men are men. Boys will be boys, and what tends to...
Ugh. I hate that when it's used as an excuse for shitty, toxic behavior. Charizia says, of course you sympathize with men. You're a fucking man, dude. Speedy Yoshi says, so he wants a safe space? It's almost like he gets it.
Happen when you introduce women into the equation is that the dynamic kind of transforms into basically a dick measuring contest. And then...
Wow, it's almost like that's a toxic aspect of masculinity that you should try not to indulge in. Weird.
This is the worst part. When you recognize that, you try to correct...
Ice Queen says, wait, I thought it was the women's only spaces getting destroyed because trans women are predatory cis men. It's all the above. It's all the above. As long as you're a minority group, then fuck you is basically the message.
Like that, the Sims come after you. Oh, what are you, an incel? Is he bothering you, Queen? You fool! I'm trying to help you. We used to have the Boy Scouts, we had social clubs, universities, we had the workplace. Now it's all gone.
He just subtly was like, women shouldn't be allowed to work. I love it when someone takes the same position as the fucking Taliban. You're a genius, John.
Because of pathetic men like you who derive their purpose from female approval. I will never forget this. My middle school group of friends, the best group of friends I ever had, it was destroyed because one of the guys started bringing this girl around. And
is he gonna unironically pull like she's like the Yoko Ono of my friend group? Oh yeah, did he list university in that? Is he unironically saying women shouldn't be allowed to work or go to college? Because he feels those spaces are men's and men's alone because women were at one point not allowed in those spaces. Those don't belong to you as a gender, John. Go fuck yourself. He outed himself as a small peen. Speedy Yoshi says it was all that girl, not because we grew apart, because we were changing, as is common in high school. Also, every friend group I've ever been a part of had a mix of both men and women in it. What kind of fucking nerd was John that he was in a group of all men all the time? Like, it feels like to me he's admitting that in his friend group in high school, none of his friends ever had girlfriends, including himself. And then one of them did in fact get a girlfriend, and that wrecked their friend group. John, in high school, normally people date other people, and they become part of your friend group, and sometimes they break up and leave, but you know, most friend groups normal people have in high school involve both men and women, and sometimes you have groups where just guys hang out, and sometimes you have groups where just girls hang out, but there's intermingling, you know, when you're not insufferable and people want to deal with you. Lord Necro JZ, thanks for the bits, but I'm not going to comment on John's looks. I'm unfortunately above it. Baja says, in my high school, my friend group was almost exactly half girls and half boys. Yeah, that's normal, right? It's like he never grew out of that stage where you're in a tree house and you write a hastily scribbled crayon sign that says no girls allowed. Like, John, I get that girls make you anxious or you have social anxiety around women or something, but that's not typical.
And I've just always been so instinctively based. I told him, look, man, this girl's flirting with you. She's flirting with him and him. This is not good. She needs to go. Oh, are you mad that she doesn't like you because you called her a whore? No, and I stand by that, actually.
Yeah, clearly it was this guy's girlfriend who destroyed the friend group, and not you calling his girlfriend a whore? Are you fucking kidding me, John? No wonder you didn't have a friend group full of women. You're a piece of shit. John is so non-self-aware that he doesn't understand that he destroyed the friend group, or they probably... Maybe he didn't even destroy the friend group. Maybe they just stopped hanging out with him because he's a fucking creep. And he's like, the friend group was destroyed because of the woman. It wasn't because I was incredibly misogynistic and a fucking asshole. She ruined it because I couldn't keep my sexism in check and couldn't not call her a whore. What the fuck? John makes so much sense. I don't know if you guys have seen the Behind the Bastards podcast, but they have an excellent episode on young Hitler. And if you read accounts of young Hitler and like stuff like that from his contemporaries who went to school with him, he was basically what we would call today an I word. I'm not allowed to say it on Twitch. Starts with in, you know. And he had this same attitude towards women, where he, like, obsessed about them, and, like, when they were with any other guy, he would consider them a whore, and he'd just get angry at women because he had this innate anxiety around them. I think a lot of fashy dudes are like that. They just get frustrated with their own perceived inadequacy, and turn that around and project it into anger at other people and say, like, it's not that women don't want to be around me, I just think women are all whores. Shit like that. It's really, really unhealthy. Ice Queen sings, he's a creep, he's a creep, he's a weirdo, what the hell is he doing here? I don't know what tune to sing that to. Sorry.
But we're here to play handball, you idiot. You're going to destroy us. And so, sure enough, the subversive nature of the woman manifested. It plagued our bond like black ink. And it was brother against brother. And it was just over. Many such cases. The haters and losers, they're going to dig into...
It wasn't brother against brother. He had a girlfriend, and you were a dick and called her a whore. Because you apparently perceived... And this is so funny. This is one of those situations where I really wish we had, like, a screen to see the past objectively. Because John is saying that he felt that this guy's girlfriend was flirting with everyone else in the group when in reality she was probably just being, you know, a normal person and joking with them and having fun because, you know, you can be friends, platonic friends of people of whatever gender. And he was like, she's enjoying the company of men platonically? That whore! And he ruined his friendship over it. That's so funny. Princess Amelia says, quote, the subversive nature of the woman. And I missed Sky Comet Fallen's bit, sorry. Sky Comet Fallen says, I'm just surprised John had friends.
That, like, oh, is that why he's sexist? Because he was traumatized by that? And it's like, first of all, no, if you paid attention to the story, you know that I was sexist before that.
True.
Second of all, stop projecting your trauma onto everyone. You'll notice this with...
Recognizing that John is a complete piece of shit is us projecting our trauma.
Like, every time they communicate online, every time one of these people sees something they don't like, they'll reply like, oh, who hurt you? What happened to you that made you like this? And it's because they can only conceptualize the...
No, John, it's pretty clear that you were like that already. It's probably because of your parents, unfortunately.
The world in terms of trauma, because these people are all traumatized, and it's that trauma that has made them so spiritually ill.
But John hasn't been traumatized at all. That's why he's such a well-adjusted young man.
It's the same way that they can only conceptualize fraternity and camaraderie as something gay. If you hang out in any of these circles long enough, you'll see, oh, well, Captain America and Bucky are definitely gay.
Did he just learn about slash fiction at some point recently?
Ron Weasley and Harry Potter are gay, and it's because their brains are so fried by pornography and this incessant hypersexualized media.
No one tell him about Kirk Spock fan fiction.
Media culture that they can only interpret human interaction through a sexual lens.
John, you just said in like middle school or high school, you called your friend's girlfriend a whore because she was talking to other dudes platonically, and you think other people view every social interaction through a sexual lens because they ship some fictional characters sometimes? Oh my. Sorry, George Takei. Oh my.
There's a great C.S. Lewis quote that speaks to this, and something like,
oh, C.S. Lewis. Relevant. Aslan was Jesus' persona.
Those who can't conceive friendship as a substantive love, but only as a disguise or elaboration of eros, betray the fact that they've never had a friend.
I agree, but John, you just told a story in which you did that.
And it's so true. They don't understand male...
John, I don't think you understand why slash fiction exists either. It's because for queer people, there are very few, especially historically, back to sort of the origin of the modern slash fiction genre with stuff like Spock Kirk. Especially back then, there were virtually no positive homoromantic or homosexual stories, right? They just didn't exist in popular media. So people who are interested in that sort of thing turned to fan fiction in order to fill the market, you like markets, in order to fill the market's need or want for that material. And that burgeoned into a huge culture of fan fiction that exists to this day. It's not some, like, weird thing where they're just seeing gay relationships everywhere. It's because there is, comparatively, a lack of gay representation in romantic and sexual stories, and therefore they're trying to fill that void by creating fan fiction material with characters that are already beloved. Ice Queen says, I'm sorry, but I refuse to watch Pitch Perfect 3 because of the queer baiting, and I maintain Carol Danvers and Maria Rambeau loved each other. I honestly think that would have been nice too. Maybe we'll see some implications of that in the Marvels. Who knows? Von Tuck says, projecting your trauma onto everyone around you. John just described his brand of conservatism super well. Yeah.
Male friendship because they've probably never had male friends who act like men. They've either tried to, but then ran away crying because they couldn't handle the verbal sparring at the lunch table. Someone told them they looked like pizza, or they just hung out with girls or other little bitches. Is there an operative difference? Not really.
John's never suffered any trauma in relation to women, or being rejected by women, or feeling inadequate towards women. That's why he's so healthy in his relationships with women. Clearly. There's no trauma here, okay? There's absolutely nothing in his background that would imply that his ideation of the female gender is unhealthy, okay? It's fine. He's fine. He's fine, guys. He lives in Texas now. He wears print shirts. He has a custom sign behind him, okay? He's got a gun on his wall. Every woman would love to be with this man. He has no baggage.
But insecure men, they don't do well in these situations, and so they crumble. And that's why the idea of white boys...
I'm legit 50-50 at this point if John is going to, like, kill a sex worker at some point. Like, he's going to hire a sex worker because he's going to reach a point where he thinks masturbation is wrong. So he's going to get desperate and he's going to hire a sex worker. And then he's going to be so ashamed of himself afterward and feel this weird religious, political, fashy guilt about it. And he's going to pull that gun off the wall and blow her head off. That's my fan fiction. Because I think there's a good chance it will happen.
Summer is problematic. It's a bunch of implicitly or explicitly right-wing dudes coming together, simply declaring that this is our summer, we're embracing our identities, we're having fun, we're not apologizing, and we're offending everyone in our paths. They fear the lads coming together and enjoying themselves unapologetically.
John, I hope you and your friends get together and have a great time. I really do. Unfortunately, your friends are also white nationalists, or just fascists, so that's not great. But I and most people don't have anything against people getting together and having fun with their friends, regardless of their genders or whatever. Who cares? Lady Necro says, Texas, only two things come from Texas, steers and poor regulations. That's pretty good. Von Tuck says, slash fix, how'd it happen? Yeah. Where did it go?
That's what it is. They fear any form.
Was that the plot of Psycho? No. Have you not seen Psycho? Watch Psycho.
Of white people acknowledging...
I mean, I guess Psycho in broad terms, in the sense that Norman probably felt ashamed on some level about his attraction towards Marion, which led him to spoilers for Psycho, which is like a 50-year-old movie at this point, over 50 years. Probably because he felt ashamed of his attraction towards Marion, let's just say Mother killed her for that reason.
That they exist, and I just have to say that's really funny to me because non-white people overwhelmingly, not all of them, but overwhelmingly view their racial identity as very important, and it's like
because they have to, because it affects their life on a daily basis. It affects your life too, and mine too, John. We just don't recognize it as much because it affects our lives in a benign or positive way that we don't recognize. But if you're the kind of person who gets pulled over regularly by the cops for no good reason other than the fact that your skin color is different than theirs, it's going to be important to you what your racial identity is.
But it's just for a meme. It's for White Boy Summer. It's seasonal. I can't help but find that funny.
Guys, our white nationalist memes are just ironic, I swear. John, it's not 2015. People aren't buying that shit anymore. Come on. Get better material.
And we have to find things funny. We have to have fun because...
It's like, John, this is like the version of playing Free Bird for the 50th time. Like, we get it. We fucking get it. It's a dog whistle.
Part of why we lose is we don't have camaraderie. No man is an island. If we want to win, we have to work together and we have to have fun doing it. If you ask anybody in the military why they're in the military, and we'll be talking...
Low-income household and wants opportunity for college or pension.
Talking about that more in the next couple weeks. What they'll tell you is that basically, amongst other things, it's for the camaraderie. It's like...
No, I don't think most people join the military for camaraderie. I think they join because the military tends to recruit from low-income areas and get desperate people who want a for-sure paycheck and want to make sure they can get pensions and health care and the opportunity to perhaps go to college after they're done. Yo&80, thanks for the 30 bits.
Like the best part of it. And equally...
He thinks the military is fun. I would imagine the military is not fun, and then boring during deployment for most of the time, and then horrifying during combat, and then boring during the parts where you're waiting and just doing maintenance on shit.
As important, the people who hate us hate that we're having fun, and so we have to have lots of fun as a political strategy because it demoralizes them. You know how
that's not a political strategy. That's just what you should be doing to de-stress, John. Just do that.
Like, you know, when you break up with someone, you start posting more on social media to let them know that you're out there, you're having fun, you're living your life without them because you're petty. It's like that, except this time you get to make communists cry and you get to live in their heads
all 4 of them
rent-free. It's pretty cool. So anyways, I will now get into the official White Boy Summer checklist. You still got some time left. You might have to do a speed run, but I think that you can still pull it off. It really isn't too complicated. If you're a white boy from the suburbs, these are like programmed into your soul. And for legal reasons, I'm not telling you to do any of these things. I'm simply educating you on what the checklist is. I did not make this checklist. It was incepted into my mind by Jake Paul when he appeared to me in a dream. It's fairly simple. And if you're really one of the forgotten gamers of America, you can probably knock it out in an afternoon. But here it is.
Ice Queen says, they joined because service guarantees citizenship. Would you like to know more? And I feel like that's what you described as what I remember the movie Jarhead. You think John watches Starship Troopers unironically and like thinks the global government sounds really awesome?
Climb something that is not supposed to be climbed. This is self-explanatory. We touched on this earlier. Go 24 hours without internet or cable television. Board a boat for at least an hour. Be on board a boat for at least an hour. You're going to want to skate down an entire parking structure. Go to an amusement park, and then before you leave, try to win one of those Rastafari bananas. Spend no more than $10, and then if you can't do it, rage quit, make a scene. You're going to learn at least one.
That's more a Karen thing than I think it would be a white boy summer thing. Throw a fit when you don't win the rigged carnival game? Okay.
One Blink-182 song on guitar. Find a nice place to watch the sunrise. You arrive 30 minutes prior with a black coffee and then just enjoy God's creation. Ask an old person what they think about transgender people.
What? Ice Queen says, what's a banana cost? $10? That's good. Actually, John, do that so you can get the last vestiges of old people being transphobic before they all die out, and you become a minority who's just a weirdo who doesn't like trans people who are just trying to live their lives. Do it.
Ask a black person what they think about transgender people.
Oh, I'm glad we live rent-free in John's head. I kind of don't want to live there, but it's nice knowing that there is a rent-free place to stay if I ever needed, you know, an extra place on vacation or whatever, like an Airbnb, but smells racist.
Go swimming at night, preferably in a lake. Read a book that would probably alarm your family members. Kiss a girl.
The Turner Diaries would be my guess. How many... You think John has a real dog-eared copy of the Turner Diaries that he doesn't masturbate, but he just kind of reads it and feels feelings. Ice Queen says, does John not realize he's describing the Kid Rock song All Summer Long that came out in 2007? I hate that song. You know why I hate that song? Because every time it starts playing, it tricks me into thinking I'm either about to hear Werewolf of London or Sweet Home Alabama, and I'm always mad. Because either of the other two options are fine. The ideal is Werewolf of London. The second place, okay, is if you get Sweet Home Alabama. And if you get All Summer Long, the radio station gets changed. Period. That's my standard, okay? It used to be fine, too, before that. It was like, it used to be, like, you know in the beginning of Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie, when that starts, it's either like a 50-50 chance whether you're about to hear that song or Ice Ice Baby, and it's like, if you hear Under Pressure, that's a good day. And if you hear Ice Ice Baby, not as good, but you're also like, haha, Ice Ice Baby. Now there's a whole fucking... Imagine if there was a third song that starts just like Under Pressure or Ice Ice Baby, but the rest of the song is just trash. It's annoying. Thanks for coming to my TEDx talk. Pixel is Falling says, I was in my 5th week of basic training on 9/11. Trust me, military is not a fun time. Yoan80 says, we should inform John about that ancient Chinese medicine, says about his lack of fun time. Ice Queen says, I don't disagree. Rest in peace, Warren and Ronnie.
Now, this one might be controversial, like maybe we shouldn't be focusing on girls, but this is only the first half of the mission. The next half is the part that's actually important, which is that you don't ever talk to her again. And if you need me to explain what this is testing, then you're probably not going to make it, but So start a surprise wrestling match with a friend of yours until one of you is unironically angry. Now, the idea here...
That sounds... What is he do? What? Assault your friends for fun. And he's saying make them unironically angry, which breaches to the level of assault. That's not just roughhousing. That's literally assaulting your friend. Troy Britt, thanks for following.
Is that even if you get pinned, you just keep going. You just keep starting shit again until maybe, he doesn't get mad. Maybe he just throws you on the ground, whatever. Maybe you're not mad. You just keep going until one of you gets mad. That's the idea.
That sounds a little gay. I say this as a bi person. That sounds a little gay. Maybe just fuck. Just fuck, John. Just fuck your friend. If you...
Get kicked out of a retail establishment. Do something nice for a husky teenage boy. There is nobody who needs our kindness and support more than the husky teenage boys. Remember, we are all 14 and husky, so go do something nice for one of them.
Helping anyone's good. Sure, John. Yo180 says maybe he throws you on the ground and nuzzles you a bit.
Buy his Taco Bell order, whatever it is. But yeah, that's the list. I feel like that encapsulates everything that it needs to. I feel like that's pretty thorough. Just some reasonable mischief, nothing excessive. We're not animals. We value order. It's just reasonable. And as far as the music guide, there's a lot of debate over this. Nick made a pretty good playlist, and I'll admit, I was hesitant at first.
Nick is in Nick Fuentes. Oh my god, are him and Nick Fuentes gonna go hang out at that cabin? I really hope John doesn't try to do any Catboy stuff, because I think Nick would like that a little too much.
I thought, can we really delegate the responsibility of aggregating the soundtrack of White Boy Summer to a guy named Fuentes? I don't know.
Oh no! Oh, he is gonna hang out with Nick! Oh my god! This went from, haha, homoerotic joke to,
But he did a good job, But my interpretation is a lot angstier. I would say literally nothing except Blink, Bowling for Soup, Neck Deep, Sum 41, Weezer, the Ataris, maybe sprinkle in some Offspring, Hum, Green Day. Quite honestly, the soundtrack of the last 3 years of my life has been 99% Blink, Bowling for Soup, Neck Deep, and Hum. And it's covered the necessary range for me, so that's what I would say. And you really do have to be careful with it, because they're trying to bring back pop punk music, but they're only pushing people who aren't angsty white guys at the center of it, which is annoying because they're trying to redirect that angsty energy into their PC narratives. And it's also because the meme potential of 2000s pop punk mixed with 2020's decline of America is so good. Imagine turning the radio on and it's just there was a race war, but she held my hand.
Chrissia says, didn't he claim women make male groups dick measuring contests? How is wrestling until you fight not a dick measuring contest? He wants it to be a dick measuring contest. He just doesn't want women there to ruin it for him.
Be so good. The Summer Style Guide. I've said it once. The pattern cotton button down, couple buttons open on the top, couple buttons open on the bottom.
This reminds me of that. Hold on. I think you should leave pattern shirt. Have you guys seen the second season of I Think You Should Leave? It just makes me think of the shirt bit. Felix Night Owl says, I'm not the only one that has heard the more a guy is homophobic, the more likely they're suppressing their own homosexuality. I don't like that trope. Generally speaking, I really, really don't. Just because it puts the onus of homophobia onto queer people, which is not the case historically.
We're on a minimalist risk.
Von Tuck says, was listening to an audiobook after the revolution where basically a super racist Christian Taliban boil out of the suburbs and take over a hunk of Texas. Guess we know what John will be up to in a couple decades. At least their power grid will probably fail. So...
wristwatch, get some Sperry, some white Vans, you're golden. It's as simple as that. Now, as far as sunglasses, there are 3 acceptable sunglasses for White Boy Summer, as far as I'm concerned. Those are the Clubmasters, the Wayfarers, and then anything made by Pit Viper. And I could explain why, but I think you instinctively should understand why this is the case. So yeah, I'm excited. You're excited. There's a lot to look forward to. Of course, the White Boy Summer Super Spreader Weekend Retreat and Jamboree. Then there's Hacktoberfest. You thought I forgot, didn't you? And then, ultimately achieving victory, which we will in the end. And
wouldn't it be amazing if at that event, both John Doyle and Nick Fuentes got COVID? That'd be hilarious.
We're going to have fun in the process, which makes ugly people...
Again, I think those two are probably both vaccinated, though. They're white nationalists, but they're not idiots.
...seethe, which is just more fun, and then it creates like this positive feedback loop until we restore American greatness. Yes. Yo, what's up, little bro? Go ahead and smash that like button, and while you're down there, you should leave a comment, because if you did, that would be utterly bodacious, my man. That's like one white guy. What if we did like a Midwest white guy? Like, oh, be sure to just sneak your way down to the subscribe button.
Oh, you're so bad, John. You grew up in Michigan. How are you so bad at that? I knew you grew up in a rich suburb of Detroit, but Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry, just gotta go down to the comments there and, just gotta scooch right down and make sure that, we can go get, something over at, the Tim Hortons, okay?
And, if you don't mind there, guy.
Yo80 says, let's be honest, hot white boy summer is going to have more grooming than a pet salon.
Hit the notification bell. That's like almost Canadian. It depends on where you are. When you get into northern Michigan, you get into Minnesota, Wisconsin, you get some of that. But, and then, of course, you're going to want to subscribe to the channel. No, we said that. You're going to want to share the video with a friend is what you're going to want to do.
He thinks he's cool, doesn't he? He thinks he's like 7 layers of ironic cool. Like, he thinks he acts so uncool intentionally that it flips back around and becomes cool, but unfortunately he goes so far with it that he's no longer cool. And also, fascism and... like, ethno-nationalism always automatically trump everything and make everything cringe, so.
And it's hard to find friends if you're a guy because all of our institutions have become infiltrated.
Like the workplace and college? Those aren't your institutions, John.
By women. And actually, it's almost better in a way because that acts as a litmus test to the guys who are going to be deviated from, whatever the task is and then going to want to pay attention to the women. The greatest example of this was recently in terms of that actually being an effective strategy for filtering out undesirable male friends. I was in Las Vegas 2 months ago, and every guy in our group, I didn't know most of them because this group was aggregated independently of me, but every guy there was just an exceptional guy, like really not only in terms of character, but in terms of like their agency. Like every guy in that group could have been his own main character. It was just really a great...
I can't believe he actually sees himself like this. How is he this not self-aware? This is so bad.
Group of guys. I had so much fun with them.
Totes not an NPC. Me and the boys being misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, and racist up in this bitch. We're real, guys. Totes. We got 7 levels of irony. What if I dab? But I know dabs are, uncool, so it becomes cool that I dab now. That's John Doyle's fucking personality, and it's so sad.
And we had like a guys' night, one of the first nights we were there. And one of the guys, who I love, one of my best friends, got a text from this girl that we were with that she was going to come hang out with us. And he just goes, oh, hey guys, so-and-so's coming to hang out with us. And this guy who I'd never met before, he just goes, oh, that's so fucking sick. And I just immediately you get it. Like, it was just so good. I love that guy. James, my captain, I love you if you're watching the content, which you probably don't, which is okay because we don't watch each other's content. Nobody watches anybody else's content, which is weird because you would think that we all watch each other's content, but we don't. It's just like you're introduced to these people and it's like they also make content. You're like, oh, sick. But no one actually watches each other's content. So sorry if that kind of, ruins the fantasy of, oh, they're working.
That's kind of weird, because in my experience, people on the left do tend to watch other people's content who are on the left. I wonder why it's not the case for people on the right.
We're watching each other's content. It's this big ecosystem.
Is it the self-absorption? Just wondering.
No, not even. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. We love the 2-minute outro. Thank you so much for watching. May God bless America. I almost was like, in my mind, wouldn't it be funny if I put pit vipers on Jesus? No, not a good idea. That's probably satanic. I don't know. I'll DM some people about that. But anyways, yes, thank you so much for watching. May God bless America.
Oh, John. At least the audio was fixed in that one. Remember how bad the DeSantis video was?
Etc. And coincidentally, I'm sure these.
Oof. So at least I got to see the cringe and hear the cringe in crystal clarity. So thanks, John. Seriously though, John's fucking embarrassing. This is the issue when you get into these like right-wing echo chambers, and this applies to like any echo chamber, but I notice it more when it's, you know, right-wing ethno-nationalist stuff or extremes on the left when we're talking about like tankies, but you completely get out of touch with what, like, I'm not even going to say I'm a normal person, because I know I'm a decent bit further left than the general population, at least if you take, you know, people above 40 into account. But, like, it's interesting to me that John tries to attempt to make the argument that we're just posting Nazi imagery, ironically, bro, and thinks that anyone doesn't see through that at this point. Like, we've been here for the last 5 years, John. We're dumb, but we're not that dumb. Let me put it that way.